A Ukrainian airstrike has successfully destroyed a Russian headquarters in the Soledar direction, dealing a significant blow to enemy command operations. The strike was carried out with precision and closely monitored by drones operated by the 30th Mechanized Brigade. Real-time drone surveillance ensured accurate targeting and confirmed the destruction of the facility. This marks another effective use of combined reconnaissance and precision firepower by Ukrainian forces, highlighting their growing capability to disrupt Russian command structures deep behind the front lines. The loss of this headquarters is expected to further complicate Russian coordination and logistics in the Soledar area, where intense fighting continues. Special FPV drone operators from the Kryla Omega unit destroyed a Russian D-30 howitzer. The D-30 howitzer is a Soviet-designed 122mm towed artillery piece, officially known as the 122mm howitzer 2A-18 D-30. It was introduced in the 1960s. Russia may be preparing to launch new attacks in the Kharkiv sector, as indicated by the buildup of its forces near the Ukrainian border. Andriy Pomahybus, the Chief of Staff of Ukraine's 13th National Guard Kartia Brigade, said. Speaking to Suspilna, Pomahybus said that Russia is trying to move its forces closer to the contact line, but has so far failed to carry out attacks. The reported preparations indicate Moscow's efforts to escalate the war despite calls by Kyiv and its partners for an unconditional 30-day truce. There is an accumulation of personnel closer to the state border. That is, there are attempts to involve the Russian personnel, obviously preparing for active assault operations. Our defense forces are ready to repel attacks, he said. In April, the Ukrainian military reported that Russian forces were regrouping and preparing for a renewed assault on Kharkiv Oblast. President Volodymyr Zelensky also said that Moscow had attempted to advance in Sumy Oblast, continuing its pressure on Ukraine's northeastern regions as part of what Kyiv described as a new spring offensive. The Financial Times reported on May 13th, citing undisclosed Ukrainian intelligence officials, that Russia seems to be preparing a significant offensive in Ukraine as it is moving troops toward key positions on the front. Russia has rejected ceasefire proposals unless accompanied by a halt on military aid for Ukraine and continues ground assaults along the front and long-range strikes on Ukrainian infrastructure. Andriy Portnov, a former top official in Ukraine's ex-president Viktor Yanukovych's administration, was shot dead by unidentified attackers outside the American school in Madrid, Reuters reported on May 21st, citing a source close to the investigation. A source in Ukraine's military intelligence told the Kyiv Independent that Portnov was indeed shot dead, based on preliminary information. No further details were provided. Portnov served in the administration of then-President Yanukovych between 2010 and 2014. After the Euromaidan revolution, he lived alternately abroad and in Ukraine and was sanctioned by the U.S. in 2021 over allegations that he was involved in corruption, particularly in the judiciary. The shooting took place at around 9:15 a.m. local time, with Portnov being shot at 5 times and suffering at least 3 wounds to his head and torso, Spanish newspaper El País reported, citing undisclosed police sources. The shot to the head proved fatal, the outlet wrote. 2 or 3 people are believed to be involved in the attack, though no arrests have been made so far. The newspaper's sources suggested debt issues as a possible motive. Portnov was approaching his Mercedes car when he was surprised and shot by the attackers. He was found at the entrance to the American school, El País reported. Emergency services found the man dead upon their arrival, according to the outlet. Madrid emergency services confirmed on social media that a man was shot dead in the area, without naming the victim. El País reported that Portnov was identified as a father at the school. He has 4 children. Radio Free Europe, Shacha Radio Liberty, Ukrainska Pravda, and other outlets have also reported the story, citing their sources. Portnov, a lawyer, was known as one of the most litigious Ukrainian ex-officials. He filed a defamation lawsuit against several media outlets, including the Kyiv Independent, over a reference to him as pro-Russian. The lawsuit concerned a story by Gleb Kanievsky, then a Ukrainian journalist and currently a defense ministry official, published in several news outlets, including the Kyiv Independent, in September 2023. A Kiev court ruled in Portnov's favor in September 2024. Portnov led the legal team of then-Prime Minister Yulia Tymoshenko in 2005 to 2010 and sat in the parliament between 2006 and 2010. After 2010, he became the head of Yanukovych's main judiciary department and deputy head of his administration. The ex-official left Ukraine for Russia and later Austria after Yanukovych was ousted in the Euromaidan Revolution in 2014, but returned to Ukraine in 2018-2019. Portnov fled Ukraine again in 2022 after Russia's full-scale invasion broke out, even though the travel ban for military-age men was already in effect. The Security Service of Ukraine investigated Portnov over alleged involvement in the Russian occupation of Crimea. A treason case against him was opened in March 2018, but was later closed. Russian President Vladimir Putin visited Kursk Oblast, the Kremlin said on May 21st, marking his first known visit since Moscow declared it had retaken the Russian border region from Ukrainian forces. Russia claimed on April 26th that it had completed its operation to liberate Kursk Oblast. Ukraine has refuted the claim, saying that the fighting is ongoing in some areas. During the visit, Putin met with acting Governor Alexander Kinstein, heads of local municipalities, and members of volunteer organizations. He also visited the Kursk nuclear power plant, the Kremlin's press service said. The exact date of the visit was not revealed. The Russian president previously visited Kursk Oblast in March, which was his first trip to the region since Ukraine began its incursion last summer. Ukraine launched a cross-border incursion into Kursk Oblast in August 2024, marking the first large-scale invasion of Russian territory by foreign forces since World War II. The operation aimed to disrupt a planned Russian offensive on the neighboring Sumy Oblast and draw Russian forces away from the embattled Donetsk Oblast. Reinforced by North Korean troops, Russia launched a push to recapture the region in early March, with Ukraine being forced to pull back from much of the initially taken territory, including the town of Sudzha. According to the Ukrainian monitoring group Deep State, Ukrainian forces still hold limited positions in the villages of Gornal and Oleshnya. Despite Moscow's declaration of victory in the region, Putin acknowledged on April 30th that remnants of Ukrainian forces remain in Kursk Oblast. Sumy must be ours, Putin was told during a meeting in Kursk region of Russia. Putin did not object. That's why Alexander Yevseyevich, current governor, was elected. He also wants more. This is exactly how much Putin wants peace, wanting to seize another Ukrainian city.
Вы говорили об этом. Это буферная зона, потому что я постоянно находился в Лужковском районе. Сейчас не мог поехать, потому что дроны, вот это проблема. Все равно нужно отгонять немножко подальше. То, что вы говорили, мы вас полностью поддержим. Дай Бог здоровья, чтобы это сделать.
На сколько километров нужно отогнать?
Я думаю, суммы должны быть наши. И мы не можем жить вот это вот, как на полуострове. У нас должно быть побольше. Хотя бы сумма, это вот тут правильно. Но это, думаю, так. И с вами, как главнокомандующим, мы ее победим, однозначно.
Поэтому Александр Евсеевич тоже не хочет все побольше.
Around 49,000 draft-age men have been detained at border areas and checkpoints while trying to illegally cross Ukraine's border since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, Andriy Demchenko, spokesperson for Ukraine's State Border Guard Service, said on May 21st. Ukraine prohibits men aged 18 to 60 from leaving the country under martial law, which was instituted at the outbreak of Russia's full-scale war in 2022. Illegal border-crossing schemes deepen the manpower shortages facing the Ukrainian armed forces, which then struggle to hold back the Russian advance at the front. Nearly 45,000 individuals were detained in terrain-based border areas or at checkpoints along the border, while another 4,000 attempted to cross the border using fake documents and other illegal methods, according to the State Border Guard Service. Speaking on air on national television, Demchenko clarified that the figures refer only to the period of martial law in Ukraine. The State Border Guard Service actively cooperates with border guards from neighboring countries and the EU to jointly counter attempts to illegally cross the border, as the number of such cases has significantly increased since the beginning of martial law, the spokesperson added. In January, the National Police uncovered nearly 50 schemes for draft-age Ukrainian men to illegally cross the border, charging 60 suspects. Interior Minister Ihor Klimenko admitted last June that dozens of men try to illegally cross the border every day, but Ukrainian authorities have largely avoided providing exact figures.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.